Hey, how's it going? Today we're doing another manga review. Today we are doing the 7th time loop. The villainess enjoys a carefree life, married to her worst enemy. So let's get going. This manga's publisher is 7 Seas. Stories done by Toko Amakawa. The artist is done by Hino Kinkino. And the character design is done by Juan Hachapisu. Also, this book is rated teen. The story begins with Riche Ermsgaard Weichner. She stands before the prince, her fiance, as he's ending their engagement. Shocked that he is ending their engagement, the prince accuses her of many crimes that she did not commit and exiles her from the kingdom. Not knowing what to do next, she heads home only to find out that her parents disowned her, and she ends up wandering the streets with only the clothes on her back. She eventually collapses, wondering what she should do, and at that moment, she comes upon some traveling traders. She jumps at the opportunity and says, "Will you buy this ring from me? It's a diamond." She ended up traveling with the traders to the neighboring country and eventually became an apprentice, learning the tricks of the trade. Soon she became independent and traveled the world, collecting exciting treasures. She traded with kings of the desert and the snow prince. She dreamed to one day travel to every country, but eventually a war broke out and she was slayed in battle. When she opened her eyes, she was standing in front of the prince once again, being dumped, as she was 5 years prior. Confused at first, she starts to put the pieces together. Her only regret in her previous life was that she didn't have enough time to gather more things to sell, so she ends up cutting the prince off, saying she understands, and rushes home. This time around, her parents have not gotten word of her broken engagement and had time to grab as many things as possible. As she rushes to the spot where she met the travelers, they did not show. Did she miss them? What happened? Did she mess up? She proclaims that she needs those connections, otherwise she can't be a trader. As she goes through her things, she discovers an old illustrated book of exotic medical plants. So this time around, she decides to sell her things and travel the world, learning about medicine. The skills that she learned in her first life were very useful, as she was able to mass produce medicine, and she even saved the prince's life. But war breaks out again, and eventually she loses her life to a plague. Waking up again in front of the prince, breaking up with her once again. This keeps on continuing to happen to her. She lives a life as a maid in one of them, but after 5 years, war breaks out and she dies again. Another one, she pretends to be a man and trains under the sword and becomes a knight. But once again, after 5 years, war breaks out, this time having the skills to fight back. But she is killed. She says again, this is the 6th time. This brings us back to the beginning of the story. She quickly tells the prince that she understands. This completely confuses the prince. Wait, I'm breaking up with you. Don't you want to know your fate? She quickly replies, says, not really. Turns around and heads off, knowing that she has a lot to do in a short time to do it. This is her 7th time around. She wished she would got brought back earlier so she had more time to prepare. Prince yells, "Wait, Raji." She turns around and says, "I wish you and Mary the best." The prince, surprised and shocked, says, "You found out about Mary?" As Riche says, "See ya." She can't stop thinking about what the future holds and what kind of life she's going to live this time. In all her past lives, she had a blast, but they were way too hectic. This time around, she wants to take it easy, and she really doesn't want to die. That she wants to live life to the fullest and have fun. She just needs to make sure that she doesn't get killed this time. She starts to think, I wonder if I can find a shortcut, when she realizes, I can jump off the balcony of the garden. Remembering her training as a soldier from her 6th life, she rushes to the balcony, but then she runs into someone. She apologizes, only to realize it's him, Emperor Arnold Hines, the man who killed her in her 6th life. She had no idea that he was attending this royal ball as well. Surprised that she recognized him, he proclaims, "You know me? I've never been to this country." She knows in 5 years he'll start a great war invading other countries. She really doesn't want to make him her enemy. She politely introduces herself and says that she's never seen him before, but heard much about him, which he replies, "You move like a first-class swordsman. Your balance is exceptional." Flattered, she just wanted to politely introduce herself, that she's terribly sorry, but she's in a hurry that her former fiance has just broken up with her and she has no time to spare, shocking him as he turns only to see her jumps from the second-floor balcony. She braces herself as she makes a small tumble to the ground and hurries off. Impressed, the Emperor says, "I won't let her go." But she arrives at her front gate of her home, but not in time, as the guards of the prince is already there. The prince walks up with a smug look on his face, saying, "Jean, you're late. I understand you don't want to hear from your true love a list of all your crimes, but it's my duty as the crown prince to put an evil woman to justice." Irritated that she messed up her timing, the prince leans in and says, "I knew it. You feel devastated." Which she replies that she really doesn't care that he broke up with her, when suddenly she's attacked, just barely parrying it by grabbing one of the swords from the guards. She realizes it's Arnold Hines. He's impressed. "You really are something." He then kneels down on one knee. He apologized for his rudeness, but he truly hoped that she would become his wife. Completely confused, she replies, "Me, your wife? I refuse." She promised herself that this time she would live a relaxing and carefree life, but he just starts to laugh. Why is he laughing? Eventually, she replies that she can only accept the proposal on several selfish conditions, and he replies that he promises to fulfill those requests to the best of his abilities. First, she wants to pick the merchant that handles the wedding ceremony. Second, she wants to be able to freely mingle with the guest at the ceremony. And third, she wants to live separately from his parents. And lastly, she won't lift a finger around the castle. "I'm going to slack off and never work." He laughs and agrees to the terms. From here on out, she continues to live her life to the fullest. Knowing that it's Arnold that starts the war in 5 years, she decides to get to know him better to find out what brings him to that, to see if she can prevent the war altogether, and perhaps maybe she can live longer than her 20s. Overall, this has been a really great series. I borrowed this from a friend, and after reading the first book, I absolutely loved it. I definitely recommend this series for anybody who's into this type of genre. It's, like a time travel kind of story thing, the Villainess, all that kind of stuff. There's 4 volumes in this series at the moment. If you guys have any more questions about this series or want to know about any series in the future, hit the like button, follow me, leave in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one.